everyone, how you doing? What's up, Michael?
Hey, buddy, how are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Did everyone hear that intro?
I didn't
Just
hear it.
you didn't hear it?
I didn't. No.
Okay. I was hearing it over on my end, so hopefully it went through.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
What's
dude,
up, guys? How's everybody on a Saturday night?
yeah. Look at that background, dude.
Yeah, your background looks fantastic.
Your background. What are you talking about?
Ah, dude, thank you so much.
Dude, yeah, that Yoda came out. It looks like you're outside, like you're in Dagobah right now.
I
You're
know,
just
man. It's
Are you
just,
eating some of that like little
yeah,
lentil soup or whatever they're eating there?
I know, buddy. It's so awesome. I
Yeah,
can't wait, to display everything, but I was like, you know what? I haven't really shown this stuff and
yeah,
I'm gonna, I'm gonna show it now. But
yeah,
yeah, I love it, man. I can't wait to have Swamp R2 back there. He's
yeah.
being worked on right now, and hopefully in maybe 3 weeks or so we'll have
Now,
it.
where in relation, kind of because I know I don't know if all our viewers kind of know, but I could kind of picture it now because you've been sending me videos and you've been sending
Right.
me kind of the layout. Where is this display in relation to like the Wampa, like the VIP area and all that
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, yeah. Thanks for asking. So when you walk into the restaurant, immediately to the right, and I said this on I think the last episode or the one before that, we're gonna, obviously you guys have seen this already, but there's a lot of things that are in the works that I want so bad to show you guys, like tonight, for example. But it's going to be a big Shazam when it's all done, right? But so this right here is when you walk into the restaurant, immediately to the right in the lower area. I got the idea from David who worked on this Yoda.
Yeah.
But when we were talking about how you're going to display this stuff, we
Mhm.
want to display it, as accurate as possible when it comes to the diorama, the lighting, etc. And that being said, we're going to probably have it about maybe 2 feet off the ground, and
Okay.
then so it's going to be lower. So when people come in, they'll have to look down like they're literally on the floor.
Yeah.
But thank all you guys for the nice comments. I'm seeing those coming through. Appreciate it. I
Yeah.
can't wait to this stuff is finally revealed, in the place that it's meant
I
to
mean,
be.
even your lighting right now, Michael. It's like I feel like you
Yeah.
went all out for today's show. Like for
I always like to have something different. You know that already, Gabe. I try to always, with the amount of square footage I have, I need to change it up, and
yeah.
this is just pure luck right now.
All right. Well, dude, we got a bunch of our buddies on here
Yeah,
already.
let's introduce everybody.
Hi, what's up? Steven, what's up?
Hey, Steven.
Chris, Janine, and Scott. How you guys doing? Johnny, what's up, Johnny? Kelvin, what's up? Johnny says, awesome backdrop, Michael.
Thank you, Johnny.
Michael's in the swamp. You know what's funny? And now that you mentioned that, so we're obviously at Disneyland a couple weeks ago, and so I forgot what my daughter said, but it reminded me of Swamp Thing, and I was like, oh, like Swamp Thing. And my wife and my kids, obviously, they're like, what are you talking about, Swamp Thing? I was like, you don't know who Swamp Thing is? And they're like, no. I was like, what about the Toxic Avenger? No. I was like, wait, am I like is was that not a popular character? You know who Swamp Thing is, right?
Oh, I love Swamp Things.
Yeah.
I okay, I don't want all the girls watching right now to get all freaked out, but I just remember the original Swamp Thing and that chick with the big set of
Oh,
bodacious
geez.
tatas.
Oh man. Yeah.
Oh, good.
So you're like Swamp Thing.
Yeah, 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 right. Thank you, Janine, for the compliment, and Pete, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
Marcel, that ain't happening.
The
And
green.
then I swear to you, Marcel, we were actually Richard Riley and me were, and if you guys remember a while back, I wanted to do a swamp deal, in
Yeah, I
a
remember that.
room, but it's
Yeah.
just, come on. But this,
Fine.
anyway.
What's up, Pete? How you doing, Pete?
Big Cat Pete.
Marcel, what's up? Solo Fett. Yeah, you do. You need a fog machine.
Yeah. Oh, right, exactly. Hey, Janine, real quick, we've been seeing your Instagram posts and it's looking really good. It's like, golly, I can't imagine what Scott's saying. It's like,
Yeah.
damn, woman. This thing, she's got some serious collecting going on over there.
I know, I know. Janine ended up being, the bigger collector of the couple.
Yeah, I know. So I just want to say, great job, Janine. Keep doing what you do,
Yeah,
for sure.
but cool, man. So what else have you been up to, Michael?
Man, everybody knows what I've been working on. It's in the restaurant,
Yeah,
buddy. It's every day that goes by. It's just we're almost dried in. The building's
yeah.
almost completely dried in, and but yeah, just been busy doing that. And I just want to say a big thank you to you, Gabe, for what you sent me. I don't know if we can talk
Oh,
about
it was yeah, it was a daisy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like a daisy chain of friends sharing with that DeLorean, right?
Yeah, and I was talking about the Regal stuff that
Oh, gotcha. Okay, okay.
that stuff means a lot.
Oh, of
So thank you
course.
so much for that.
Yes.
And yeah, so guys, I was able to pick up from Gabe his original, the only one to watch, Back to the Future, and he sent me the Hot Toys 6 scale DeLorean, and it's simply badass. I cannot tell you guys, the last several months I've been doing so much research on the real car, and
Yeah.
getting this model in this 6 scale Hot Toys DeLorean. It is so absolutely on cue. It's spot on. It just blows me away, the little details for 6 scale, and I'm so happy to have that thing. So thank you so much, Gabe.
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be real pissed if the part 2 doesn't come out. they're like
So everybody, so you know, he,
they're like we're canceling it.
Gabe, as y'all know, doesn't have the best taste in the world, and he likes Back to the Future too. We none of us know why, and it's the flying skateboards. But anyways, because they're having they're coming out with the Hot Toys Back to the Future too.
Right.
I actually have that one on order because that's But one of the good things that happened with this thing, Gabe, is the price drop, right? I mean, these DeLorean, I mean, you're my buddy, so I didn't have to really worry about that. But those things were going for like $3,000,
Yeah, they're crazy how much they're marking them up.
Yeah. So you got Johnny, of course, he's, 10 years old. So, he's on your side when it comes to Back to the Future too.
Part 2, Back to the Future 2. We got what else? Temple of Doom.
Oh my gosh, man.
The better of
Hey, let's not start this show out with an argument. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
So, man, I just want to, I know we're going to be showing everybody, but you know what? Gabe is like the maestro artist, that we never really knew about.
I've been on a roll recently.
Yeah.
So obviously you guys know the T16 thing, right? I kind of showed a little bit, but I finished it all completely.
Yeah, let's let everybody see it in the case.
See if I can bring it a little closer. And then I happen to already have this case. I'm gonna be very careful because I'm always very.
Yeah, you always drop.
I know.
Fantastic.
So there it is in its glory.
Congratulations, Gabe.
Thank you, man.
Hey, and thank you for all the reference that you gave to all the viewers. And I hope they're not slacking. Hopefully, they're right behind you when it comes to their builds.
Well, I will. I'm still going to do another video with kind of some tips that I ran into. Nothing crazy, like just I want to show them kind of what colors I use because I think I did. So Jason Eaton put out the color scheme, like the actual colors. But I think I found a hack, and I think I found like an easy way to do it with just rattle cans. And so that whole kit was just done with rattle cans. The only thing I did with airbrush was the bottom, the white part. But yeah, I'll probably post a little video. I might even do it on the Collection Wars channel. I mean, we'll see. I might post it on both. Just some little tips on how to kind of just work on it. One of the other things too that I might offer just for like our friends and stuff is those little squares on the bottom of the T16. Yeah, let me I'm gonna send
that thing way more than me now, Gabe.
I know, dude, I've been freaking studying that thing for how I get when it comes to like I'm gonna send you a couple pictures, Michael, just so
yeah, send them through.
And then I'm going to send you. Okay, there's that.
Oh, you're kidding, Brian.
What happened? Oh yeah, that Brian broke it. I know.
Did it break like bad? What?
It's okay, Brian, because I think there's a couple things that I want to talk to you about before you start the next one. To really watch out, because honestly, there was a point in the build where I was just gonna scrap it, where I was just like, oh my god, like I
Really?
messed up, because I accidentally glued. Okay, so here, let me bring up the pictures. Um, so the instructions are great because they're pretty basic. I mean, they're pretty easy for everybody to understand.
Maybe Brian. Maybe John can hook you up with the needed parts, unless it was that bad of a break. He's a good dude.
Let me
The
see.
acrylic broke. What does that mean?
Yeah, so mine too. Mine broke too. So let me pull up some of these pictures. Let's see. Yeah. So the base part. So this whole base it's acrylic, right? It's like a lasered acrylic. So yeah, absolutely. If you snap it, it's gonna like just snap, right? Um, so what I ended up doing is see these like walls, these side walls right here. So I ended up kind of just mirroring them like each other, right? When I started gluing everything together, I took this big, I looked for the big square, this big rectangle, and then the little rectangle or little square, and I put the small square on the bottom on both, right? And
Mhm.
and the thing is, the screen used one, and all the reference pictures, the scribes aren't as deep as this one, right? So you're not able to see kind of the scribes very clearly on all the pictures. So the original references that I had, you couldn't really see the scribes too close. So then I was just like, oh, they're probably the same. So I ended up gluing it together, and that was the first thing you do, right? You first build kind of the shape, right? So then I started building the whole thing. I went through the whole thing. I'm literally at like 95% done.
Jeez.
And I realized that they're actually it's not mirrored. They're actually one of them's flipped. And the only reason I realized that is because when I was putting the water decals, I realized that the little tiger looking thing, I don't know what it is. It's like the phoenix. I don't know. What are these things called?
Yep.
Whatever. I started noticing that some of the lines intersected kind of weird on this side. And I was like, let me see if I can actually take it apart. The thing is, it's glued with that, what is that? Whatever that acrylic glue is. It's like a very specific, very watery acrylic glue. And I glued it along the top, along the side, and along the bottom. So when I started I stuck a razor blade in there to try to dig it out. As soon as I did that, it just snapped in half. It just went pop. And I was like, oh no. Like all this work and I just like broke it. And then
Damn.
the windows, I messed up the windows because I accidentally got a ton of super glue all over them. So then they fogged up. They turned to like this white fog. So I was just like, man, like I just ruined this. Like I'm just gonna whatever. I'm just gonna.
Mhm.
I mean, it's $150. I mean, it's a learning experience. The way I kind of saw it, I was like, for $300, I'm gonna have my T16, right? Like because I'm gonna buy another kit. So, but I kind of gave it a day and I thought about it and I was like, well, it's a clean cut. I might be able to just glue it with that same like liquid glue, right? With that acrylic glue. And sure enough, I did, and it came out perfect. You can't even tell. Like if you look at that picture right here, the snap is right here, and you can't even tell.
No.
So they can be fixed, Brian. Obviously, you're gonna have to repaint it, obviously, or repaint part of it. But yeah. So I'll be giving some tips on that. But what I was gonna say is I'm probably gonna offer these. See these little squares? These little rectangles are a nightmare to paint. Because think about it, you're gonna have to tape off those tiny little gaps, right? Like it's there. I mean, millimeters wide, right?
You make those with a brush?
So no, I ended up doing these on the computer, and I printed these on my wife's acrylic printer.
Ah,
So
so
she
they're black acrylic decal.
Yeah, so these are actually decals, right? And what I did is I took the her Cricut machine. It's a Cricut, I think that's what it's called. I measured them out. I made them. The machine cuts them perfectly. And then what I did is I sprayed them with acrylic flat matte or matte black paint.
Mm.
So then I kind of just peeled them off and then put them on there. And the reason why I kind of thought about this because that's what I did with my K3PO for the little circles, the little red circles, and it came out great because it just looks like paint because it's
Right.
not a sticker because I actually paint them. So yeah, that's what these are, and they came out nice and clean. You would never be able to tell it's a sticker because it's so thin, and there's paint on top of it, so it just looks like paint. So, anyways, there's that. Um, The other thing that's a nightmare are the little dudes in there, just because of the detail, right? Because the
You
little,
painted those with a brush.
yeah, those you had. I actually had to use a little toothpick to like do the
Yeah.
pins in the pockets
Yeah, those are
and
my favorite part of the whole thing of those little dudes.
the little, the little stripes across it, and then the one on the left right here. It's not only just a stripe in the middle; he
Mm.
has kind of a stripe on the across the head. So that was kind of a nightmare too. The stickers were probably the easiest things to put on. I was super scared to do those water decals, but with the help of Joseph gave me some great tips on how to apply those how to transfer those stickers. And obviously Jason Eaton makes these, so you just buy it directly from him. I had to buy another set, and Jason sent me an extra set in there, but um, just because I messed up one little part. But that was fun. And then that's the one I just showed. And then remember I was talking. Remember you guys were kind of making fun of me because I was like, "There's this 3 millimeter little red stripe around there, and this and that." Well, look, you could clearly see it, and good thing I paid attention to that because
Yeah.
it's there, and you
Yeah,
definitely
because you don't really notice it.
yeah, it's right there.
Yeah,
Um,
we can't see your mouse moving.
oh, you can't see the mouse?
Uh-uh.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
Still you can't. But anyways, so yeah, around the wheel, there's this little tiny red, and even that I had to do with like a tiny brush, like just around it.
Hey,
Um,
congrats, man. You gotta. It's crazy how the case worked out and everything.
yeah, so the case is actually from Regal Robot. Back in I want to say 2018. Yeah, I think it was 2018. I bought the Tauntaun, the floor display there at Comic Con, and I asked Tom. I was like, "Hey, would you sell me the display case that it's in?" And he's like, "Yeah, just wait until after the con is over, and then you could buy it."
Yeah,
So
that way you don't ship it all the way back to New York.
yeah, exactly. Save him some shipping there, and it ended up working perfect for the T16.
That's
Like
crazy.
perfect height, perfect everything. So it
Yeah,
was great.
because you
Uh,
didn't even use it for the Don anyway, did you?
no, I mean I did have it in there for a little while, but
Yeah.
no. And then I finished this like early last week, and immediately I started working on another kit. And this kit, let me see if I sent you pictures, right? Let me see.
Yes.
I'm gonna resend them because I don't see them on my end. But um, so this guy Ryan, him and his wife are on the RPF, and he's actually going to jump on a little bit later to talk about this. But so Ryan and his wife are prop makers. They basically they're that's their passion, right? They love doing props. Um, Ryan specifically, he's really about like looking for found parts, right, Michael? Like the just found parts, right? and he does so much research in order to get into. Let me bring up his stuff. Are you frozen, Michael? Oh, I think Michael's frozen. Am I frozen? Oh, I guess it was me. All right, I'm gonna keep going. Michael's gonna jump back on. So, so Ryan did a lot of research and just really dove deep into the Rancor remote or gate remote, right? And this is one of those holy grails for me. I've wanted this thing, I mean, forever. And I nobody made it. You know, I didn't see anybody that had a kit or anything like that. So there's Michael.
Sorry, bro. I don't know what happened.
So yeah, so then I discovered Ryan on Instagram, and when I started looking into his thread about this kit, you know, he's not one of those people that hides the ball. He loves to share his finds, and he loves to just share with the community, which is again that he's such an outstanding guy because you know a lot of people in this community, Michael, as you know, the studio scale world is kind of similar. You know, they'll find something, and sometimes they'll gatekeep, right? They'll be like, well, you know, I'm not going to tell everyone what it is, right?
No
I'm
doubt. No
keep it
doubt.
to myself. Well, Ryan is the opposite. Anytime he finds something, he's willing to share it, and in fact, he'll get the original part and he'll make castings for the fans, so then that way they get a chance because some of these parts are super hard to get.
Right.
He found out that this middle part is actually from it's a Tamiya SD KFZ 222 Leichter Panzer one. I can't even say
It's a tank.
tank 4x4 model kit. So it's a tank kit. So he put it together. He basically got all the references. He designed the button to match all the scratches. And I mean, look at the attention to detail, Michael. The one on the right is the screen use. I mean, he got all the little scratches, all the little dents, like right down to like, I mean, everything. And you know how I am with that. Like, that's just super impressive. And then he knew what lights to use and all that. So anyways, I reached out to him, and him and his wife were just the kindest people. I mean, immediately as soon as I reached out, they were, you know, they had followed me like on YouTube, and you know, they were super thankful as far as like just some of the content that I was putting out, and I was like, I want one of these kits, so I purchased one of these kits from him, and I got it in. It's beautiful. I mean, he packaged it beautifully. It was beautifully wrapped, and I started working on that. And let me show you kind of I'll show you my end result is right here.
Damn. Wow.
And I still got to work on the lights because I think in the movie it's only one or the bottom lights up. So I gotta figure that out, but I'll do that eventually. But yeah, this thing is just beautiful. This is such a beautiful kit. And so I spent all weekend kind of just painting it, kind of trying to get it all right.
That's badass.
And I think I cracked it, man. I think I cracked the code as far as like. Let me see if I can bring up the pictures really quick because
Gabe Salzo.
Gabe Salzo, I know. You know what? It's crazy because I never really saw myself, even though like you're the one who's always encouraging me. Like I don't, you know, I painted the R2 and I was like, whatever. I just followed everyone's advice and I just kind of followed instructions. And then I did the blast shield helmet, and I was like, all right, like I'm good at weathering. Like that's my thing. Like I think I really could sense kind of where the weathering is. And then I did the K2SO, and then I started just building on kind of just techniques, right? Like the K2SO, David, our buddy David, actually helped me out with that color. Like I didn't know about that okra yellow,
yeah,
which is crucial for that Star Wars look. And so even just that, like just knowing how to just put down some of that weathering, and then the T16 obviously, and then now this. So like I'm starting to like it. I'm starting to get
Get good at it by just doing it.
the hang of it. Yeah.
People are always asking me, how to start, and it's just got to do it.
Yeah,
Keep,
exactly.
keep doing it. Hey, and Jeff, I think we have in store for you. I think we're going to have him on this evening, aren't we?
We are, and I can't wait. I can't wait to bring him on because not only and anyone who doesn't follow him, he's on Instagram as it's RWC Props. RWC Props. He also makes a vibro axe. The one that like
Yeah,
the
there's a lot of them where use it. Weekway,
yeah, pretty much
all
all
the skiff guards, a
the
lot of them.
skid parts.
Yeah.
He's figured out every single part on that thing, and he's found all the found parts that make up that whole axe. And he got all the original screen use or not screen use part, the found parts. He
Mm.
casted them, and he has all those parts. He's working on the little communicator. I'm going to bring it up on his. So remember, and I'm sorry, my camera still doesn't want to focus, but Lando, he has this little communicator. He's working on that. I mean,
That's really cool. I went online when you sent it to me, and I was very impressed with the stuff that he's done.
right? Oh,
Thank you, Jason, for the
I don't know
compliment.
why these pictures are not sending. I'm gonna have to send it to me. I'm gonna have to airdrop them real quick. You're seeing the pictures on your end, Michael?
Not right this second, but what you're sending me, or
Yeah.
yeah, let me see. Yes,
You're seeing them?
yeah, you sent me 7 photos
Yeah.
with the push button deal by the Rancor and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's
That's
weird.
what
I don't know why.
Pete
I
was
don't know why
saying.
they're not showing up on my. All right, I might log off right now because I'm gonna switch from like hardwire to Wi-Fi. So
Okay.
give me a second.
Yeah, see you in a second.
All right, am I still here?
You are.
All right, I'm gonna just airdrop them to my computer real quick so I could show you guys.
Man, I just love the way the background behind me looks. I just so cool.
Dude, and again that Yoda man. I mean,
Turned out good, didn't it? I'm
yeah,
really happy with Luke's stance now, and I mean this. I think this is good as good can get when it comes to a mannequin Yoda. I mean, excuse me, a mannequin Luke Skywalker. I mean, he looks pretty freaking real back there.
yeah. All right, so let me show you guys this Rancor button. All right. So I put it there with the Regal Robot Rancor.
Yeah, that's cool. Pete had an idea of you putting it behind the Rancor there. That would be cool.
Yeah, I got to figure out kind of where I might put it above him, but we'll see. But look, so here's the thing. When you look at this, right? If you look at the screen used one, right, it's really hard to tell what color it is, right? Because there's multiple layers, just like anything in Star Wars, right?
It comes down to lighting and everything.
Right. So yeah, so I ended up going, and I want to save this for when Ryan jumps on, but yeah, some of the techniques that I used, it's kind of by accident. I kind of came across the techniques, and I'll talk about them in a little bit. But as you can see, it's like the base coat is black. The top is actually I ended up using this flow quill that I had bought for my T16. So there's this flow quill on top of it. There's like a black wash, a raw umber wash on top of it. There's dry brush, rub and buff on top of it. Obviously, the button is a different color. It ended up being a lot of work.
Hey, so real quick, that rub and buff. So
Yeah.
Izzy was telling me about that. He said that's what he used for his R2 head. Is that what you use for your R2 head? The rub
No,
and
my R2 head's aluminum. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so mine's
Okay.
already
Yeah, it's like, but I don't know a lot about that rub and buff, but I've heard We were just first time I ever heard about it was a week ago.
So it's a wax. It's like a
Oh,
wax, but the cool thing is it's like it kind of activates with heat. So as soon as you put the wax on there, and it's really thin, so it's it gets on your finger really quick.
yeah.
And the more you kind of buff it, right, with your skin and create friction, the shinier it gets. So you could really control how you want it to look. If you want it to look really shiny and clean, obviously you just boom boom and just rub it until it's really hot, and then it comes out shiny. Or you could kind of just apply it relatively light, like what I did
Scratches
here.
in it, like aluminum.
Right, because I didn't want it to be like super shiny. So so yeah, so here's kind of the side, and here's where you could really appreciate all the layering that I did, right? You could see kind of the black, you could see the gray, you could see the browns, you could see the dry brush, you could see the actual like rub and buff that I use with the tiny little toothpick to kind of get in the cracks. Um, so yeah, if anybody ends up picking up a kit from Ryan, and you guys want any whatever I use, just shoot me a message and I'll tell you exactly what what paints I use.
Very cool.
But yeah, man. So this was a grail piece for me for sure. Like I've been wanting this in my collection for a long time. So
No kidding.
yeah. It's been well. In fact, when Regal Robot put out a little tiny magnet version of it, right? So
Oh,
I
that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah, like the little tiny. So immediately I was like, oh man, I gotta have. I mean, I wanted it for a long time before.
And then a lot of people were 3D printing them. They were everywhere.
Yeah, people are 3D printing them and all that stuff. But again, you know how I am with like Lineage and with I
Yeah.
wanted to have some type of connection to the originals. And when I saw that Ryan used the original model kits and kind of sourced out the original lights and all that stuff, I immediately was like, that's the one I want. Like I don't want a 3D printed one. I want one that
Right.
comes from the model.
Yeah. Yeah, even Jens, when I on my big job of the hut diorama, I don't have it hooked up yet, but he made me a little 6 scale push button that lights
Yeah.
up and everything's pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I messaged Ryan and I was like, you might get a little bit of an uptick on some interest after because we're going to talk about it tonight. And then I invited him on the show, and he agreed. So Ryan and his wife Julie are going to jump on and just talk to us because I wanted him to kind of just put the word out, all the research he's done, because again, it's not just the Rancor button. He's worked on a lot of other projects, and again, he's one of those passionate Star Wars fans that needs as much credit as possibly given because
Right.
again, people don't have sometimes the patience to sit there and research a little piece, like, and Ryan and obviously his wife, they're passionate about Star Wars, and the fact that he's so open with it, again, it shows he's a stand-up guy, and yeah, that's why I wanted to kind of put a spotlight on him and his work. So,
Johnny, I'm in a Whataburger drive-through. He feels sorry for you. He says he feels sorry for you because you just have In-N-Out, so you don't have Whataburger there.
Oh God, yeah.
You've had Whataburger though, right, Gabe?
No, I've never had it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Next, so when we go for the restaurant,
yeah, for sure,
have to get in there, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, so actually, Ryan and Julie are backstage right now. Do you want to bring them on?
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to meeting them.
Yeah, let's bring them on.
Hi guys.
Hey guys.
Thanks so much for having us.
What's up, guys?
Yeah.
Guys and gal.
We're so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for jumping on in super late notice, right? I mean, it was kind of a last minute thing, but thank you so much for jumping on. We're just talking about obviously the Rancor button and how amazing that kit is. Like I said, I actually didn't expect it to be that good because you look, as a Star Wars fan, you buy stuff, you get resin kits all the time, and
sure,
sometimes you don't know what to expect. And your guys' resin kit was just like I mean, all I had to do is paint it. Like literally, it was perfect. So great job.
We post up that it would be little to no cleanup.
Yeah.
And we included in the cast just some reference marks. Like if you wanted to drill out the center and make it functional, you could do that. So there's a center mark there, and then
we just wanted to make it as easy for people, as possible to put together and kind of enjoy the process. And we're very attentive to detail. Like both of us are very creative people, and Ryan is also an electrician, so he has a lot of mechanical skills, and I'm in art direction and creative design, and so we have kind of a big weird mix of talents and skills that kind of go together in all of this. And we really wanted to kind of put that attention to detail and kind of that a high level of perfection, and kind of what we give other people.
Right. Well, and it's your work, so we want to make sure. I think we were beating ourselves up a little bit too much because it's kind of a complicated cast. We want to make sure that even though like the waffle areas don't have any bubbles in them, and because that you can't really fix that. Mm-hmm. It's different on a flat plane versus that. So, I got people I made friends with on the RPF, and I was like, hey man, these problems are happening. How do you? Mainly, I've just been doing like metal fabrications and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is the first thing that we cast. I mean, we've cast little greeblies, but this was a bigger thing.
Yeah.
And so it was an easy fix. They're like baby powder. So we're like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, just even before we get into the kind of the props and like your research and all that stuff, you guys are our guests, and we want to know about you guys and Star Wars and how did you guys kind of get into Star Wars? I know we all kind of have our own little Star Wars story, right, from when we were kids. But like, what made you fall in love with Star Wars?
Let's see. So from childhood, I was born in 1980, but I do remember seeing Return of the Jedi in the theater. As a kid, I had several of the Kenner Biker Scout action figures and speeder bikes. So the second I saw that thing, that was an obsession, the Biker Scouts. I finally got one up there. But I was always obsessed with that particular character. But Star Wars, I don't know, man. It was just like, I saw it and I was like, injected into my veins. I was kind of, and so there's a nostalgic thing there for me, but I don't know, man. It was
the Biker Scouts. It sounds like it's the Biker Scouts, man.
What was that? The Rancors, pretty much everything about Star Wars.
Let me ask you, because me and you are about the same age, and we always talk about this on the show.
I know what you're going to ask.
What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
My favorite one?
Yeah.
It would be Empire Strikes Back. Everybody says that.
Oh, okay. You surprised me. I thought you were going to say mine's Return of the Jedi. Because
but I love Return of the Jedi too. But I guess every line Vader has in Empire Strikes Back still to this day gives me chills. James Earl Jones, his voice is the combination of him and Prowse, because David Prowse, it's his body and his body movements and all that. Combination of the two, you just can't match it.
Yeah.
But I just loved everything about. I got no complaints about the original trilogy whatsoever. And so if you've been on my Instagram, you can see my childhood drawings. That's just some of them that I found. I actually posted up I found a lot of my childhood drawings I did of Star Wars. My dad kept a bunch of them after he passed away. I found a bunch of them.
That's cool.
And my dad, he passed away in 2020. He got COVID and passed away in that first wave of COVID. But going through the back of the shop, because my family has an electrical shop, I actually found the lightsaber he made me when I was little, because I used to play in the yard there. So it was still back there.
Yeah.
My dad made me this out of electrical parts. It's pretty beat up because I used to play with this.
Holy crap, man! That's probably got to be the best thing in your whole collection, dude. Right there.
Pretty
Yeah,
special.
so I was thinking of maybe putting a kit in this, making it work, but yeah, I got it. I put it with my other things, and
I wouldn't touch that thing, buddy.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. That I know what that means to you, and that's a
Yeah.
really really cool piece. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
And those are the things.
Mm.
And look, we always talk about this on Collection Wars, right? It's all about like kind of that nostalgic feeling that Star Wars takes us back to, right? And that's why we always ask this question, because all of us have something special in our childhood that kind of just now as adults we're still involved in Star Wars because it kind of throws us back to that time, right?
Very
yeah,
transportive.
the music too.
Oh, John Williams.
John Williams, the score music is a big deal for me too, especially with the original films. I'm so glad that Lucas fought tooth and nail to, make the things the way that they turned out.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. I have favorite things about each film. So I guess Empire overall would be my favorite, but
I want to bring this up too.
Return of the Jedi, or even that's that's
look at Christmas.
Yeah, you can even see there's a glowworm over there. The two lightsabers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have some things. I don't have much from my childhood, but I did. I mean, I was really, excited to find that the lightsaber was at least back in my dad's shop.
Yeah. Oh man, and I pulled up your drawings, so I couldn't log into my Instagram.
No, that's all right.
They're really good.
Yes. Yeah, you can see. I think most of the drawings in there are biker scouts.
I feel like I can hear the sound effects like from the movies, just like looking at your drawings, like
right.
Clearly had a very good imagination.
So that's my favorite spaceship on Star Wars. Is the Imperial Shuttle.
Tydirium.
Oh,
the Shuttle Tydirium. Such an eerie ship, but I always thought it was such a cool design.
Yeah. Look at that with the
Ewok. Yeah.
That's cool.
Look at this. That's awesome.
So fun. So I'm a little younger than Ryan, and so I didn't get to see any of them in the movie theater, but like my family watched them all growing up, and I feel like as a kid, you automatically gravitate to certain things like Ewoks, where as a kid they just make a lot of sense to you, but so did the rest of it. Like I was in love with Star Wars from the very beginning.
That's a cool picture right there.
Yeah.
Too. Oh,
you put those in little frames.
Yes.
Yeah, I really want to frame the one with the Ewok and the biker scout.
Yeah.
I think you really like Endor in general. Like the speed arcs is part of that, but
and I've really wanted to go back there as an adult, because last time I was there I was in, I think, 5th grade.
Yeah.
I think at my age now I'd really, especially knowing that they filmed the original, the Endor scenes there would be great. I mean, we went to Death Valley for a photo shoot, and I was just on cloud 9 actually being there where they did the Tatooine scenes.
Yeah.
I was in a NASA spacesuit because it was for a photo shoot, and it was 120 degrees out. I thought I was going to die, but it was still
really
incredible experience.
And so Julie, you obviously your family grew up with watching Star Wars and all that. What was kind of your first introduction to Star Wars? Like as far as like the film, was it the original trilogy or was it the prequels?
Oh no, definitely the original trilogy. I was born in '84, so I just missed it, which is a bummer. But yeah, it was like one of those things where like I just never stopped watching Star Wars once I started watching Star Wars, right? And it worked its way into things like one of the funny things about Ryan and I, now we've been together for like 15 years. But like we both came together in our first Christmas tree that we did together. Like we both had childhood, Star Wars ornaments going all the way back to like our, our young years, and now our entire Christmas tree is basically Star Wars with a Death Star tree topper on top. So, but it's cool because it's just like, that mutual love has kind of just like merged together. The longer we're together, the kind of more things from both of our lives are kind of working our way into kind of our new projects.
Right. I don't have to hide my nerd loves, you know, I don't have a wife that's like makes fun of me for that. She's in some ways even more nerdy than I am, but
Yeah.
it really helps out to have a a spouse that supports Star Wars as much as you do.
Yeah.
I think Scott can agree with you, Barry.
No, whenever, yeah.
Scott and Janine, they're big fans, and I think Janine's the bigger fan. Sorry, Scott, I'm just saying, JS.
Well, she got me into like Battlestar Galactica and
Harry
love
Potter,
that.
other things
and
I
all
might
sorts of
not
other
have messed with. I was mainly a Star Wars guy. I was into other things, but Star Wars was my go-to.
You like Battlestar Galactica, though? Oh,
Well,
that's cool.
she had to talk me into it, and I remember watching it. And I was like, "Gosh, this is actually really messed up."
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, we can't really sleep on that. That's kind of messed up. You want to watch another one?" So we marathon the thing I did in what, a month, a couple.
I'd already watched it all, but
Are
you
you
went.
talking about the originals? The original Battlestar?
Well,
No, it was the newer stuff.
Oh, okay.
I watched the originals, but the
I was
newer
like really shocked just now that she was like about. I was like, wait, because I like the old school vintage Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, I love those Cylons better.
Yeah, me too.
I think they look better.
we've definitely gone back and watched the old.
It's just the first one. The first one's the good one, you know.
Mhm.
But there's a couple good ones, good shows of the originals.
So yeah, what are okay? So obviously Battlestar, Star Wars. What other kind of geeky franchises? I don't want to call them geeky anymore. They're not. I think we're beyond that stage now.
Yeah.
I love Dread, the Carl Urban Dread.
Yeah.
I'm kind of bummed they didn't do a sequel, but at the same time, maybe that's a good thing.
I've never seen that one.
Oh,
no, that's Dread.
I've only seen the Rocky one, Sylvester Stallone one.
Oh no! If you watch Dread,
I think they're both good, but for different reasons. Like the old one is so cheesy; it's just fun.
Kind of like RoboCop and the new RoboCop.
Right.
I think Carl Urban, he does not break character. He doesn't have a moment of clarity. He's just hardcore from the whole way through. Never takes his helmet off. And permanent frown.
Scowls for the whole movie.
A lot of one-liners too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a really good job.
But we also really like Harry Potter. We like Lord of the Rings. Like I feel like we like things that have like a lot of depth.
Back to the Future.
Into, like a lot of those franchises have a lot of depth where you can kind of get into the nitty gritty because we love all the behind the scenes, all the little
you know. What I'm gonna ask Michael.
Oh, I know the good. I really love
favorite Back to the Future out of the three.
The first one. I think the first one. It's just such a good start, and I love Doc Holliday's, or that's Doc Holliday. I love Doc Brown. I like him and Marty's relationship.
We always go back and forth because my favorite is part 2 actually. And,
Gabe doesn't have the best of taste. You guys.
Oh man. So guys, so obviously, props, right? You guys love Star Wars. Kind of what got you into this hobby as far as like, okay, I'm going to jump into props and prop research and building them.
Right. Well, I used to build replicas when I was little, here and there. I mean, and then, right after high school, I went in the Marine Corps. And then after that, I jumped back in with the band I was in high school. So I was in a band, a couple bands. One of them was touring for 15 years. And being in 2 bands is, I mean, it's like a second marriage. You don't really have.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I got out of the band, and then I started doing. I was doing like combat training, and I was a lot of EDC, Krav Maga, and all that sort of thing. We were teaching courses, and I was doing a lot of heavy weightlifting and things. And my back got so bad because I got an injury in the Marine Corps, so my L4-5 disc is pretty much crushed, and then I have a couple other bulging discs. But my back got bad enough that I went to the doctor because I couldn't walk or do much. And he's like, yeah, you have to stop doing everything you're doing. You can't do any more of this. And I was so active at the time, I was always doing stuff. I can't do anything. So I'm like, oh man, I gotta do something or I'm gonna go crazy.
This was like
well,
kind of the end of 2019 kind of.
So I was like, well, gosh, I've always wanted, in the back of my mind, I always wanted to do the movie prop thing and build props. And so I was like, well, I'll just start doing that. So I did. And it replaced all that other stuff I just cold turkeyed.
Yeah.
It 100% went in on this. And
a friend of ours introduced Ryan to like the prop replica forum, and it was like a drug. Like as soon as Ryan got a taste, he just like wanted more. Like there was so much information and so many interesting people that were really like generous with time and advice, and it just sort of like opened up this whole can of worms it was a really good time for you to need a new like focus for yourself. And so and then I feel like the kind of problem solving and treasure hunting aspect of things is really kind of another part that sort of tickles your interest with like finding original parts, figuring out what some of them are.
Well, the RPF guys, they'll kind of not intentionally challenge you, but every time I posted something up, hey, I made this thing. Oh, dude, can you do a run of that? And I'm like, sure. Like I'll look into it. It's nothing I'd intended to, make a bunch of, but then I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I want it as accurate as possible. And then I start looking at the thing I made and the actual photos. I'm like, oh man, this thing is way off. Wow.
Yeah.
And so that's where once you start going to that level, okay, well, this has got to be accurate. And this too, I've gone this far, so I might as well.
No.
So like the VibroAxe thing, that was a good 2 years. Like
that's what I was gonna bring that up.
Solid. Even the wire wrapping that's on there, I studied that. I matched it. I mean, that's actually the Vibro staff. That's what one thing I'm trying to build right now.
Yeah. Okay. I try to pull up here. Okay. Which one? You tell me which one. This one?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to click on this. Okay.
No, I'm sorry. That's the Connect. Are you on the RPF? Yes.
Yeah, I'm on the RPF. Yeah, I'm on your forums.
So I guess if you went on what's aluminum VibroAxe blade, not the discounted one, but
the unlimited one. Okay.
So this was my first post. So this was kind of the start of this project, all the way till me building an actual axe. So there's a lot of points in here where I ended up changing what I did because it just wasn't accurate enough. So I took it completely apart and redid it. The
first one, like you hand built, like I just, did a quick, rendering, and we looked at it like on the computer and printed him out kind of a template, and we kind of went for it.
The reason I went with aluminum was because I was going to do HDPE, but the aluminum was cheaper than that. So I was like, oh, I'll just make it out of metal. And so the first ones we did the beveled edge by hand. And I actually have the first blade. The first blade I made is this one right here. The edge is, I went from a horrible template. And so when we actually start looking at the picture of the actual blade, it tapers in the middle and it goes out, flares out. It's not a consistent width from the beveled edge.
Yeah.
So these are the ones that this is a finished blade that we make now. And there's two other parts to this. Three actually. You got this side piece right here.
Yeah.
And then you have these two.
That's badass.
Dude, okay.
And so
it's hefty too. Like this
it's 6061 aluminum. And they're actually really, really sharp when I get them back from the machinist.
Yeah.
So I was doing them all by hand, but I couldn't quantify the time that it took to make these things, at least the way that I would want them to. I don't want to give somebody
So
go ahead.
yeah, no, I was gonna ask you. So did you start with the blade, or were you like, did you say I love that weapon? Let me find out kind of what it is what how they made it, right? Because I know, right? Isn't what is that, a hair dryer or like a hair?
Yeah,
right?
Gillette. It's a Gillette. It's a Gillette hair dryer, Supermax hair dryer from the 70s.
You know that, Michael?
No.
That's actually easy to find. Those things are actually really easy to find. What's hard to find, insanely hard to find, is what's on the very top of the axe, the greebly on the very top,
Mhm.
and there's an military electrical cannon connector. So see that thing right there?
Yeah.
Those are very hard to find.
Yeah.
You can probably find the thing without the clamp. That clamp is what is insanely hard to find.
Really?
Yeah, it's I found if you contact Lasco, so several different companies make that thing. It's not just one company.
Mhm.
I did an insane amount of research just on manufacturing and part numbers, but if you contact Lasco, they do have a back stock. Like, oh, we do have these in our warehouse, but no one's buying them. That clamp now is an SS clamp. It's just a solid ring that you tighten a screw, and that's an old style clamp, but that is the clamp that is on the original.
Did you order a bunch of them?
I did, and mainly because people are always hunting for them, and a lot of people, they got 2 or 3 kids. They don't have
time
they don't have time. So I'm like, hey man, I got some of these. I'll just sell you what I paid for it.
This is what Gabe was talking about you sharing, and
that thing is.
People have been really generous with us as well, like people being helpful to us. I think it's one of those things where it's like, those kind of things pay it forward.
Come around, go around. Yep.
Yeah, it's good energy, and especially because we were doing, we've done a lot of our prop work, during the pandemic when people have been having a really hard time. It's like it's a nice way to feel connected to other people and to pay energy that's positive into the future. So
I agree with that.
Right. And it was actually, that is not my cast. That's a cast that I bought.
Oh, really?
So somebody had one. However, when I started lining that cast up with things were not matching up.
Mhm.
That one is actually too big.
Slightly.
It's too big, and it's an MS. So MS means mil spec. It's on the serial number. The AN is the one that you want. And if you scroll down just a little bit, so you can see that full connector. No, the connector you were just at.
Oh, okay.
And you and Gabe are going to be really good friends.
So if you go up, bring it down just a little bit more so you can see the neck where the threads are. So between the bottom thread and that NON, the AN version, which stands for Army Navy, they're military avionic connectors. Those are the ones you want, because that space right there is too short on that one, on the MS version. So you want the AN version, which is near impossible to find.
But you casted them, right? I mean, you cast.
Yeah, so that one right there, I actually cut that guy's cast up, and I made the ring and put it on a real center part that I found. You can find those. It's that ring, that lock nut you cannot find.
Yeah.
And those are those are electrical bushings that I cut up to try and match, that lock nut.
Yeah.
They're okay, but I actually found one through searching for 8 months. What I noticed is that the connectors, the electrical connectors, the ones for aircraft, looked a little bit closer to what I was looking for. So when I typed in vintage avionic cannon connectors, picture popped up right there.
Yeah.
I almost had a stroke because I'm at my mom's house. I'm like, I'm trying to buy it and I can't buy it fast enough. So they were only $2.30,
Yeah.
So I bought 20 of them. Well, only 8 of them showed up, and the rest were something else. And so I was like, well, they were like, man, these are from like World War II. We didn't even know we had any of these. I was like, wow, okay. So I sold. So the people that bought my blades, I sold them a Canon connector. I sold the ones that I got, and I kept a couple for myself so I could cast them.
Yeah.
But I wanted some of these guys to have the opportunity to have a real part. Some people were offering me like $200 for one of those things. I was like, no, that's insane. I can't do that.
It's just taking advantage of people.
Yeah, I didn't want to take advantage of people. I mean, So, anyways, I ended up selling one to a guy because he was making casts at the time, and I wasn't doing any casts.
We didn't even know how to make casts. I think
the guy that I bought the original cast from, I sold him one because I said, "Hey, this is the correct size. So if you're making casts,
Dude,
great."
that is badass.
Is that the one on Disney? Is that at Disneyland?
Yeah, and I last time we were at the park, I actually found one that's at height level, so I could actually really look at it.
Yeah.
And if you go in the spot where the guy is roasting the robot is roasting so at that restaurant right there, there's one right there on the wall.
Ronto Wraps.
I've noticed. I saw that. I actually, you know what? I saw that a couple weeks ago when we were getting one of those Ronto dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like that is everything's 3D printed, and this isn't. I mean, when you stare at things so long, you can tell everything is wrong.
So are you making one of these legit? Can I buy one of these from you? Legit?
I have one right here.
Yeah, look at it.
I want first dibs.
I think I might have first dibs, Michael. But
okay, I understand.
All
right. Well, is that one or what?
We're already talking a little bit earlier. I was like,
damn it, Dave.
I want to put one together, but I want to put one together with at least some real parts, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Just for bragging purposes,
That's
I'm gonna make you big here.
It's pretty long, and this one. So there's two different versions of this. There's a hero version and there's a stunt version. The stunt one is the one you see that Weequay has on the skiff.
Yep.
The thing is primarily all black, pretty much.
Yeah.
But if you look at the one in the palace that Lando has, it's got a way different paint job on the blade. The Canon connector is shiny like that.
Yeah.
And
that is so freaking badass,
right?
It's also
really one for the restaurant, Michael.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Ryan's got some really nice mounts that he's developed too that we have on the side of our bookcase back here.
Display it
off of, but because this thing weighs so much because of the aluminum blade, you can't always use lots of things that I think you could use if you were doing like a resin blade or some other type of material that needs something that'll support a little bit more weight.
I want 100% real one.
It feels really legit when you hold it because it's so heavy.
And I wanted this thing as functional as possible, so I drilled holes in my blade. A lot of people didn't want the holes in the blade, and you can see on the base of this thing, those holes. The reason I did that is because when I put the bolts through this thing, you can put a lock nut in there and anyways, after you cinch it down, I filled this hairdryer full of resin. I wanted the resin to go through the blade so it was
more secure.
Really so, and the rest of this, I made this out of aluminum. All the parts I made out of aluminum. This guy right here, this Vader rod. I bought a Vader rod that somebody had made or 3D printed one. When I got it, it was very skinny. The rods that are on Vader's chest are skinnier than what's on the Vibroax. And so I went to get them machined here. They wanted over $200 for one. So one of my friends, I made friends with him in Germany. His name is Ralph. Really, really skillful guy. He's a dental assistant, I believe. His wife is a machinist. And his wife showed him how to use the machines. And so he machined me one of those. And then, we talked to other people on the RPF and everybody else wanted one. So Trooper Trent, he's a guy. Trooper Trent? Okay, Trooper Trent.
We had him. Yeah, he's a friend because he makes the floating
training remotes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he made the template for because we were trying to lock down this Vader rod. Because I put the skinny one on there. I was losing sleep over it. So
Why is it called a Vader rod?
Because it looks like there's two rods on Vader's chest box.
Oh, okay.
And so they call it a Vader rod because it's almost identical in some ways.
I got you.
But we wanted it as close as possible. So Trooper Trent actually made the template for that. I was working on some other things, and we sent it to this guy Ralph, and he machined those.
So the blades and all that stuff you subbed out to get them machined?
I ended up doing that because doing it by hand, it would take 4 hours, to do the beveled edge by hand with a grinder.
Right.
And
to get that
if you overstep it and you take away too much aluminum, if I got to refill that, it's going to discolor the metal and you can't sand it out. It's going to. So it took a lot of time.
When we're lucky, we have a connection.
So that corner right there, actually,
Yeah,
that little corner in the metal. Through one photo I found, it's actually rounded, and so I stopped making those 90-degree. That was one of the first two that I made. We've obviously perfected it now.
Right.
That's actually it should be that inside 90 should be rounded. I found it in one photo where you can barely see it.
Yeah.
So since a lot of this was more just Ryan than my involvement in the beginning, like anytime Ryan starts a project, it's like starting it and then restarting it maybe not 100 times, but lots of times, because you find things you didn't see when you're through the project, and so you want to go back and redo things because he's so detail oriented with accuracy. You see a photo that you could never find in a search before. It's like the research project never really totally ends.
Right.
Which you really like that depth and that kind of.
Well, not only that, but with Star Wars props, it's like there's gonna be multiple versions of them. So depending on which picture you find, they could be slight.
Sure, right.
What is this piece? What is this that you're
that's the Canon connector. Here, let me see. That's this guy right here. These electrical connectors. This is they're electrical connectors for aircraft, or you can use them on like military radios and things like that. And it goes right here on the vibroax. It's let's see. Yeah, I guess that way. It's this thing right here.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Most likely you can find the center part of it, but this lock nut, with these little fins or ribs on them, that thing is so hard to find.
That's so badass looking.
So what I did is I cast just the lock nut. So if people a lot of guys want as much original stuff as possible.
Right.
So I cast just that lock nut so they could at least have an exact replica.
Yeah.
Or cast. And then on studying the photos even in more depth, because I found some photos somebody had taken at an exhibit of the actual stunt axe, you can see the numbers. I thought it said Canon, but I turned the picture upside down and there were numbers. You could barely pick them out, but I actually found two of these that have the exact number that is on that.
Wow.
All the other ones have different numbers on them. Those are the earlier ones I made. They have the wrong. Some of those greeblies are wrong. And
what is this thing? What is this tank?
That's a Melnor soft flow soaker. It's for a garden hose.
And that's my favorite thing about Star Wars. I'm telling you, like the stuff that these prop makers would use to make these, it's just like
it's crazy.
Yeah, so those are the ones that they're too skinny.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, the real ones are. They're slightly thicker.
And have you through like talking to everyone on the RPF and do you know if the ILM people machine these or are they found parts?
Nobody
knows.
Well, here's the thing. I was in Barnes and Noble. This is probably a year ago, maybe. Yeah. There's a book by Anthony Daniels, 3PO. He has a book out, and I'm looking at some of these pictures of his
parts,
his costume. and it's like original C-3PO Greeblies. And see that screw there? That's not the correct screw. I found out what it is in that book. There's a picture of two of them. I'm like, that's it. That's the screw. What is it? And because I saw the base of the screw, it's not threaded. It's called a quarter turn fastener. It's for aircraft or something. But you see there's one on the Y-wing helmet. There's one on, you see them in several different Star Wars helmets or props. But that's one of the Greeblies for the Vibro Axe. Just little things like that led to some discoveries. But always having it on your mind helps too, because
yeah, you never know where you're going to find answers to things.
That Greebly is from a 1978 Han Solo Kenner blaster.
That's what I was gonna say. That looks like the front end of the Han Solo blaster. That's
the reason that one is red is because in 1996, Disney Parks released one, but it was red.
Yeah,
it's taken out of the same mold and everything. So, but it'll cost you anywhere from $9 to $20 instead of $100 plus to $500.
Yeah,
and that's just what they used in like Return of the Jedi, huh?
Yeah, they used one of those. I thought it was kind of hilarious.
Yeah, that's so.
Well, remember, Michael, we were talking about Return of the Jedi and how they use the die-cast little TIE fighters. Remember?
Yeah, that blew me away. Yeah,
background TIE fighters.
Yeah,
they were taking toys left and right.
Yeah, there's a lot of this is a lot of the process, but okay, so that connector right down there, you can see it where the wire goes into the pole.
Yeah.
That's my first attempt at making that because no one knew what it was. Trooper Trent, he 3D printed that Greebly for me because we just couldn't figure it. We didn't know what it was. That's the actual prop right there. And there's a few others, I think. I posted up as much. So there you can see that. See how this bottom one, which is the actual prop, see how that connector lines up with it?
Yeah.
The top one is that bigger cast that I bought.
And
you can see it just doesn't line up like that.
Yeah, the diameter is
and
definitely
so
different.
That's where I was like, well, this can't be right. So I ended up finding the correct one. And it's a 4-pin electrical connector. And it's made by Canon. Canon is a company. Amphenol is another company. Everyone was looking for Amphenol connectors. No one was looking for Canon. As soon as I typed in Canon aviation connectors, that picture. So really what you put into your search is going to make a difference.
Yeah. That's what I started noticing because I was researching the base of the T16 and no one could figure out what that little hex nut in the middle is. And so, yeah, I was just like Googling just different things. And then finally I kind of narrowed it down. I was like, I think it's this. I think it's one of the lamps. What are they called? The pennant lamps. And it's a pennant lamp. And then it has the 3 like little things that stick out. So you can screw on the lamp. So once I kind of figured that out, then my search just got kind of narrower. But
sure. Yeah.
Another kind of weird but helpful thing with identifying parts has been like Google. What is it called? It's a Google image search, but it's not searching for images. It's searching with an image. So sometimes like it can identify some part of a shape. We were using it to look for something. It was like a window. Window closure the other day. So then it's showing us lots of companies that make kind of similar shaped window closures to see if we can find the right one. But
that's another thing I'm trying to find. That picture right there, that's the actual prop, the stunt axe. This is what we based my wife traced this, the blade on this one, and that's what we scaled it from to get these cut. Now, if you look at this picture, and I'm sure it's on this thread, I posted up all the things I could think of or that I could find and all the discoveries I made. But if you look at that blade head on, it's the beveled edges on either side. One's way lower than the other. So we kind of picked a bevel that was in between both of them and settled with that. Because I didn't want to make it wonky like the screen used one. So...
Yeah.
And because of the Blu-ray version, which I usually never watch because I like the original cuts.
Yeah.
we were able to see the placement, the angle of the screw that's in the blade.
Oh, wow.
You just see it for a second when it's by Princess Leia, and you can actually see the angle, because through other pictures I saw in books, it looked different, but because of the Blu-ray version, I was able to see that.
That's a cool hobby. That finding the matched parts from the films.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
That's really cool.
Really makes you appreciate like how eclectic like everything was that was going in, because like, you know, we've seen a lot of like model part things, but it's just like all the aviation parts and stuff. It makes you wonder kind of how they even found all those, you know, tools in the first place. But it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it all came together. It's crazy.
Do you have a thread for the Rancor button or no?
Yeah, well, actually, so the Rancor one, I was already in the works of it.
Yeah.
Kind of here and there, on and off, because I was working on other projects. As soon as I found out what kit they used, which is this guy right here.
Oh, there you go.
Tamiya.
Yep.
Something Panzerwagen 40.
That's so cool.
Right.
Those are on spaceships too.
Yeah, and you can get this kit for like $20. However, the kit that has that Yamaha piece for the vibroax, for instance, the cheapest you'll find it is probably $350.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now on the same sprue that Yamaha piece is for the vibroax, it has the Biker Scout mount greeblies. It has some Y-wing helmet greeblies. Bosch greeblies are on there.
All in the same kit.
Yeah, and I didn't want to pay that for a kit, so I contacted Tamiya, and they said I could buy the screw for $2.99.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately, I didn't mind sharing that information, because I didn't want people to go, destitute trying to build this thing. So I shared the information. Now you can't get the sprue anymore from them or the kit, so you have to pay.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said that. That's one thing. Anyways, good as
well. I cast the original part, and then I sell the cast. So if people need a cast and don't want to, which it's solid, the original one is hollow,
right?
But at least they can get that,
Yeah.
I didn't even use a real one on mine because they're so hard to get. You can't tell that it's fake, but I need to save that so I can make more casts, so people can at least get
of course
a cast if they need it.
Yeah.
The Rancor gate switch is like really different than the vibroax. It's like the vibroax, like there's way more, research that you can do. You can find way more, images, in the films and of, people taking pictures of, displays at cons and exhibits and things like that. Whereas like the Rancor gate switch is like, you have pretty limited.
You just have the screen caps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ryan had been, started working on this project already. And I saw that, Regal Robot had released the little mini, Rancor gate switch, like magnet for the fridge. And so I bought it for him as a gift because I knew he had been obsessively, researching details.
I actually bought that one. You bought me the Rancor head.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh. No.
Yeah.
I jumped on somebody else's thread for this.
Yeah.
It was a post your Rancor gate. Everyone calls it something different.
Yeah.
It was a post your share your Rancor gate switch. Here, it was kind of a community thing. And I had like the main body built. My wife cut me out the back plate we have a Glowforge. So she cut me out the back plate, so I had something to build off of. And I posted up my stuff, and immediately some folks were private messaging me saying, "Hey man, are you going to do a run of these?" I was like, "Well, I guess so."
Yeah.
I was asking my wife. My wife had made some molds before, and so I was like, "Is this something that we could probably do?" And she's like, "Yeah, we could probably do it."
Very cool.
And so
what I could tell you, and just by the way, because I know you told me I know obviously Julie was a huge part in the casting of it and that whole process. When I received it, I mean, that cast is beautiful. Like how you see it right here in this picture, like that casting came like that. Like it's like perfect. I mean, there's nothing. I couldn't find a flaw in it. So just
Aw,
great job.
thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
we try really hard to, make them as absolutely perfect as we can. And if you want to rough them up yourself, you can, rough them up as much as you want. If they live in a dungeon, they'd probably be pretty,
Right.
roughed up. It gives you the choice of starting from something that would be kind of as new as it could be.
Yeah.
Um,
And then what about the button? How did you research the button to kind of get the scratch?
So the button, the button we actually rebuilt a lot of times. And the reason I say that, so if you see the notches there, the 3 notches on the bottom,
Mhm.
and there's that recessed rectangle on the top.
Mhm.
Originally, I had masked those off, so it was just a solid button. It didn't have those details in it. And then I was like, man, those are actually kind of cool details.
Yeah.
And if you look at the shape on the bottom of the screenshot, you can actually see those 3. If you look pretty hard, you can kind of see those 3 notches. So I'm like, they're probably there. I couldn't see from any screenshot if that rectangle is on the top or not.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, if they want to fill it in, at least they have the option of having that detail or not.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's, I don't know if it's there or not.
So
Now-
you get the lights, or does Gabe? Did you get those? You got those separately? The light.
I got them from Ryan. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we sourced some lights for Gabe as a gift, but the kit doesn't actually come with the lights. You want to explain kind of what the lights are all about?
The lights, the base is relatively easy to cast.
Right.
It's the actual bulb, the orange lenses. You can find these, but the amber ones, are particularly hard to find, especially now. I can find one here and there, but you're going to spend probably 17 to 20 or 30 because you got to buy the whole thing to get one, and there's not that many out there.
So we put out, when we posted the kit on the RPF, we did put a section at the bottom that was kind of like taking interest, and if people would want us to kind of start doing a lights kit. I did a cast of one of the light bases that we have, and I altered it so that you could put a 5mm LED inside with just a little clip, so you don't have to worry about kind of the stuff flying around or figuring out how to mount that tiny little thing inside, and it just clips in, which also means if you need to replace the LED for any reason, it clips in and out. And I made this kind of thinking it'd be an easy thing to offer, but also like it's great for us when we're building our own kit. But it's the lenses that are harder to cast. And we've done some tests. I've done some kind of color studies to see kind of what's the right balance with, kind of clear resin.
Wow.
The challenge is just, getting them totally bubble free, and that the clear resin takes quite a bit more time to cure. So it's a little bit more of a process.
Yeah.
And if there was enough interest, essentially we'd do the rest of the research to figure out if we could find a more expedited way to, refine the process and offer something that we feel really good about. But that's really the challenge right now. So if people are interested, they can let us know, and we'll continue doing that research, because we know that they can be kind of hard to find. Some people do want, those original parts. If they can find them, then great. But
so she cast that one. That's one of the casted ones. It's just the spout, the pour spout where we pour these in is right in the center on the top. So you got to cut that off, shape it, then sand it smooth and clear, each one.
And each one of the little kind of ribs that you see coming down from the top there is actually on the interior.
Yeah, they're fluted.
So, any tiny little bubbles in there also show up really easily because light is coming through it, right? When it's lit, that, it's very obvious. So obviously we would want to, make sure that we're going to be able to create a good enough product that people are going to be, pleased with the outcome as an alternative to the real ones. So
we did the light test when we use white lights. So we marked it there because orange in the amber lens is actually what worked for
Yeah.
matching
the
to
screen.
So
So-
we've done a lot of testing so far. We just have to refine that one part if people are interested in it. So
And
Right.
again, this is what I was talking about. Like, I think you guys, Ryan and Julie, you guys are doing, amazing work. The fact that you guys, are doing this for the community, it's amazing. So I really appreciate it. I wanted to, so
probably.
I know I kind of already showed it a little earlier, but you could kind of see, let me see if I can bring up, you could, I finished mine today, and I don't know, I know I sent the pictures to Ryan. I don't know if you saw it, Julie, but
I did. I'm really excited to. Are you going to show it again? Sorry.
yeah,
It'd be nice to see it like on a bigger screen than on Ryan's phone, just because you can see so much more detail. But
yeah. So, and then I kind of wanted to explain, because I know Ryan and I were talking a little bit about, he was asking me about my process. That way I could kind of talk about that just briefly. Give me a second. Let me pull up.
Yeah, because honestly, we've focused so much on just getting this kit done and out there. We haven't painted our own yet. So.
Yeah.
it seems funny, but yeah, it'll be really fun when we get there. Oh, it looks beautiful.
Man, yeah, it looks fantastic.
Sorry, let me pull up. There's a different window here. Here it is.
This is like Christmas when you spend like a bunch of time like working on perfecting a kit, like getting to see like when people get it, like how they make it their own. I think it's magical, to be honest.
All
we put them together.
Yeah.
So
There you go, Gabe. That's a pretty good compliment right there.
yeah.
Yeah, he does good. I'm proud of him.
That's awesome.
All right,
It's also so sad that that's the thing that killed the guy.
I know.
I know, right? Exactly. So I was talking to Ryan a little earlier, because I was asking him questions, just trying to figure out the color scheme, right? Because it's hard to tell in the original picture, right? Because it's like a deep, dark, I think Ryan, you said gunmetal, right?
Something like that.
Gunmetal. So I ended up, because I was gonna go out today. I was gonna go to Hobby Lobby and get the gunmetal gray and all that stuff, and because I had painted it originally just matte black, right? I just did with acrylic, with actually an acrylic shake can from a little model, because I was doing the T16. So I sprayed it, and I like the way kind of acrylic kind of just really gets really tight into the cracks and all that, as opposed to like just a normal like Rust-Oleum or whatever. So I already had it matte black, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just dry brush it with silver to kind of give it that look. But then I realized I had purchased a vintage Flow Quill bottle, and it was an SP. It was a SP Lark dark gray, and I had bought that because I thought that's what I was going to use for the T16. But when I actually used it, it ended up being so dark that I was like, oh, this is definitely not that. But I started looking at gunmetal gray, and I was like, oh, it's actually pretty close to it. And plus, once I put some layers of weathering, so then what this is, it's flat matte black on the bottom, that SP Lark deep gray or dark gray on top, right? Airbrushed on. So it's airbrushed on. And then after that, what I did is I did like a basic black wash. But I know, Ryan, you're asking me about if I did texture, right, on the back part. I only did texturing on the inner part. I don't know if you could see my mouse over this, but I only did texturing on this little tiny lip right here. Okay. And the reason was because I was running out of spray paint. So it was just kind of, it was just spluttering. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to use that to kind of give it some dirt, like to make it look like dirt, right? Like on the inside of the crevice. So then I did a black wash, and then a raw umber kind of wash. And then me and Ryan were talking about this, where the mistake happened that was like the best thing that could have happened is, as I was putting the dry brush, because I use Rub and Buff a lot for like project. So I did silver Rub and Buff with the dry brush, and I started doing like kind of just the edges to give it that metallic look. and I overdid it. So I was like, oh man, now I gotta like darken it. So then I took that same brush and I kind of just took all the rub and buff off a little, and I dipped it into like my mixture of like the raw umber and the black, and then I started kind of dabbing it. Well, there's still rub and buff on there, so that mixture, so that's what the mixture is. So that's why that background looks like that. So it's actually kind of a mixture of that rub and buff that was still on the brush with, black acrylic with that raw umber kind of all mixed together. So as I started dabbing it, it turned into this like, I can't even describe that color that you see there.
Yeah.
Pete.
No, it looks great. It highlights all the details.
Yeah, and then what I started doing is I started looking for all the major details, right? Like these little nicks on the bottom, right? Like these are really the I don't know if can you see those?
Oh, yeah.
So those little nicks right there, because I looked at the screen user, or the one on the screen, and I kind of it almost looked like, I don't know, like it was like a flathead screwdriver that had kind of got dumped in there or something. It was like that shape. So I was like, maybe I'll replicate that. And then you guys did just such an amazing job with the button that it was so easy to just kind of follow. I weathered it first, and then I went in there kind of with a little bit of rub and buff on a toothpick, and then just kind of followed the scratches. And basically that's it. And I mean, it was a 1 day build, really. I mean, 2 days, because yesterday I started with the coat. But if for anyone that's interested, and I don't know if you guys have them available, Ryan, still for the public, but
yeah, we do. There was a small bunch of people that wanted them initially, and so
we still have quite a
so
few.
we're like, well, we'll do 25 just to see how it goes.
Right.
If there's not much interest, then we'll move on to other things.
Yeah.
And I kind of expected right off the bat a bunch of people would jump in on this thing.
Yeah.
However, the RPF is kind of weird. Sometimes, like my blades, I hear crickets forever. Then all of a sudden, 10 or 13 people need them right now. I'm like, oh man. All right, well, that's fine. But anyways, the kits. So we cast a bunch of them, and the second I put it up on Instagram, so my wife talked me into starting an Instagram account. I had the only social media I have is the RPF by choice, because I got off of Facebook years ago, and it's been a blessing. But
technology is not your strongest suit, but that's okay. But Ryan now loves Instagram, so
I posted up on Instagram, and then people started contacting me, and they started contacting me about other things too, because she wanted me to post up my work. So I started doing that. And yeah, it's
when we wanted it to be like flexible too, like some people might want to, do a lot more with kind of the electronics aspect. Ryan figured out kind of what kind of a push button would create the right, reaction with, when you press the button, the top light goes off and the bottom two lights go on, or vice versa.
Yeah. So when Luke looks at it the first time, just the top light is on because the door's up.
Yeah.
When he throws the skull at it and hits it,
right,
top light goes out, the bottoms come on. And I would imagine it's very quick shot. You don't really see them go out or anything.
That's how it was. You hit the button.
When the door's closed, the bottom lights would stay on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a momentary switch, which you can get on Amazon for really cheap.
Yeah. It's
got to be, it's got to work. When you hit that thing, those lights are going to stay on.
But
and
we've also made jokes about how like certain delightful makers that we follow on YouTube might also want to like make this their garage door closer, their actual closer to their garage, people that have the kind of skills to actually like wire that stuff into their house. Like, it's a different kind of thing, but we definitely know people that would, enjoy that kind of stuff being a part of their everyday living spaces. So
yes, we left it up to, if they want it to be a static prop or a functioning, it's up to them.
Right. So the space behind the button is sort of like, you can drill it out for kind of whatever you want to run through there in terms of power, if you want the button to be functional, or you can have it just be, static and visual.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely, it's an easy build. So, and you could definitely, I mean, tweak it. And then you guys, sent me, so I'm so grateful too. Sent me the clean button too. So I've been working on that too, kind of just having it ready to go. And I didn't glue this one down like permanently. I just kind of put a couple little dabs of super glue just to kind of just keep it on there. But I thought about that. I was like, what would be crazy? And I don't know. I mean, I know Ryan said you guys have seen some of my videos, but so this room is behind a bookshelf.
Yeah.
How cool would it be if like that button opens up this bookshelf? But I mean, I'm getting a little ahead of myself.
Look at the squeaky door that.
Yeah, right. So it definitely had a lot of possibilities. But like I said, I wanted to bring you guys on and kind of showcase that. The other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to give a big shout out to Julie and say happy birthday because
thank you.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Tomorrow, right?
That's tomorrow. This was like a really exciting like pre-birthday surprise. So thank you so much for
That's
having
cool.
us. It's such a treat.
No, absolutely. Happy birthday, Julie. And again, like I'm telling you, like I haven't been, and look, and one of the reasons is too, I'm not a very patient person. Like I want to finish. And this was the most pleasant, like just interaction with you guys. First of all, the process of like getting it, you guys shipping it to me, and then having it and building it out. Where I'm like, I'm not even joking. I was like doing like happy dances like in the kitchen. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm just like, this came out so good. I don't understand how. Apparently, I'm a prop maker now. I'm a painter now. Like
he actually told me today that he likes how this turned out better than his Skyhopper.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Skyhopper looks amazing.
It does look amazing.
I did look at building one of those, but I was messing around with this, and I was like, man, I got enough stuff that I thought we haven't even touched yet. So
Yes.
I did want to tell you though about the door, about the actual button.
Yeah.
So the top of the one that is it's as new.
Yeah.
It actually is slanted. The top of it is slanted.
Okay.
And it's kind of hard to see. One side, the base is actually taller than the back end here.
I actually noticed that when I painted it.
So
because I painted it on a flat surface, and I noticed that because I could kind of tell when it's like when the spray paint is rough, I could tell that it was smoother on the bottom, and I was like, "Oh, is my table off?" And I noticed that the button has a slant to it.
So the actual part, the actual piece, here it is. Here's the actual piece that's not
in the mock kit.
It's not filled or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the turret.
I don't know if you can see, but there's a little ledge on the back end. You see it?
I see it.
See that ledge? So we filled that straight, which is what people usually do. What I think they did in the movie is I think they sanded that thing straight. The reason why I think the front of it is flat based off of the screen images is this distance between the surface and these two little side fins. There's two little side fins on that thing. See that notch there? Yeah. That little fin?
Dude, you guys are serious nerds.
There's one on both. There's one on both sides. If you look at this one, there's a pretty good distance between the front of it and the little fin. And when you look at that screenshot, it's like right there. So I was like, this thing's got to be flat. It would be weird to have a push button that's angled anyways. So
that's crazy.
We offer this one because this is what I think is actually accurate. It's as close based off what I have as can be. And then if people disagree and they want one like this, they can have that one.
Yeah. A lot of people want to do things themselves, and we don't want to, take that away from them, right? Like sometimes the fun is doing all that, kind of wear and tear by yourself. I think weathering is like a lot of people's favorite parts of any project. It's really satisfying.
Yeah. Well, between what you guys do and then what Gabe does to actually build it and then talk about it in his awesome videos, it really lets the viewers and people that want to get into it knowledgeable and know how to do it. And it's I think a really good thing to start out on if you want to get into anything, because I mean, if you mess up the paint, you can just start over.
Yeah. Well, and from our experience in the last couple of years, like like we didn't know how to do a lot of this stuff a couple of years ago. It's like, I think that gathering skills is like, leveling up in a video game, where the more skills you have kind of under your tool belt, the more things you can do and the easier you can problem solve through things. But, like we just learned things by like, deciding we wanted to do something, watching some YouTube videos and just going at it, like, just trying things and doing things repeatedly and failing a lot.
Adam Savage, he tells you about his failures, his successes.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So it's good to know that that's part of it, but that's just
the RPF community has been those guys. I've talked to people that worked on the Mandalorian helmets, like that actually painted the helmets. I didn't know it at the time. Deep in the conversation, I was like, I don't understand how you match that. He's like, well, I painted this. My friend Jason painted this. I was like, oh,
so cool.
And you'd think they would have better things to do than to talk to you, but they're more than willing to share all their information and
they're kind.
Because they don't want their skills to die with them.
Right.
Of course, some of the paints that they told me they used are $400 for.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time with studio skill, because Michael has an amazing just studio skill. I mean, probably the best studio collection in the world, in my humble opinion. I mean, it's so extensive and it's just so beautiful. And we talk about that all the time, is that it's a dying art, because a lot of these ILMers, a lot of these people that worked on them, they're in their 80s and their 90s, and they're not going to be around for much longer. So unless they pass that knowledge down to like a new generation, it's going to get lost. So
sure, we get a lot of reference when it comes to that stuff on this show.
Yeah.
We watched. We were so excited when we saw that Michael was on this, because we watched a bunch of your videos too, so we knew exactly who. We're like, wait, is it the guy with the little daughter that walk around?
Oh man, thank you so much.
We were like, we watched you guys' videos during the pandemic, which was, really, really helped out, because that was
good.
That's awesome. Appreciate that. Yeah, no, that's me and Michael and I started this show during the pandemic, because I mean, we wanted a space to kind of share just positivity, and that's why as soon as I was chatting with you guys, I was like, they're great people. Like, we wanted to bring them on. It's especially, and you're doing great work. So definitely want to bring you on. And then obviously, it's Julie's birthday tomorrow, so we have to bring you on and say happy birthday as well. So
thank you. Happy birthday.
Yes.
It's so nice to finally get to talk to you instead of the,
I know, right? The messaging. I know. It's our world. Well, you guys are always welcome on Collection Wars. Every once in a while we'll do like a group chat where we have a bunch of people jump on and a bunch of friends. So, next time we have that, be great to jump on. Obviously your knowledge and little tips, because we're all a bunch of Star Wars nerds, right? That are jumping into different projects and collecting different things. So it's always great to have, an extra set of eyes and experience. So.
And we're always, trying to find new things to do. I know I think initially I was building blasters and lightsabers and things, because that's kind of your go-to, but I want to build things that no one else is really touching.
That's
some things like the Vibro staff, which blows up Boba Fett's jetpack.
Yeah.
There's nothing on that thing. I've discovered some of the Greeblies, but and I've been looking at that for the past year. So I've got my research on that, but until I find some things, I can't. Right. Like the blade for the Vibro axe, everything gets based off of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to do everything else.
So one of the first actual real prop pieces that I've been interested in, I guess you'd say it's a prop, but Robin and her husband have been trying to locate the bag, their training backpack, and it's been very difficult.
That too.
What's that? Have you?
Yeah.
We were just talking about it like 2 days ago.
That was really weird. So if you guys come across something, please get in touch with Gabe. And I would love to.
Will.
I want it to be sitting against. If you see the film, the way Yoda is right here, the backpack is sitting right next to him there, and his feet are just dangling off the log. And I want to have that there because I'm going to have R2 there and Luke. So I want to have a really full, neat little. Because we're also doing the charging lamp. I've got somebody doing that for me as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I've seen a few guys that built that.
What's that?
I've seen a few guys that built that, and it's
that's another thing. We haven't seen it. We've looked, but we haven't seen any of them built before. So
I can send you a link to somebody that
please. That would be fantastic.
Yeah,
lots of detail on that thing.
Yes,
the blue
all the vents, the little hoses to it and stuff.
Yeah. The blue backpack is actually on the Mandalorian Book of Boba Fett.
It was Book of Boba Fett. It was
it's on the Book of Boba Fett.
It's the same pack.
It's blue and it's got the same buckles. So I'm assuming they matched what was used, but he's running with Baby Yoda's in it.
Yeah.
Backpack, but it looks to be the same backpack. So you might want to look at that too, because
very cool.
Kylo's staff is in the Book of Boba Fett and in the Mandalorian. I've spotted it a few times, and I know that Favreau and Filoni have been just really awesome with matching those original things. So
yeah, I feel like if you love the original trilogy, there's so many little tiny Easter eggs when you're prop focused that like make appearances and in the newer stuff, which I think is so fun.
Yeah. See if y'all can come up with something on that backpack thing. I know Robin and them were looking as well. And Gabe will tell you, I'm not real techie. I've never been on the RPFs before, but I hear so many good things. I know a lot of people that are involved with that.
That's kind of the gateway to all this, right? That's where I kind of started. That's where I started learning about it.
That's where I looked for this.
My YouTube videos, when I first started making my YouTube videos for like these props, one of the things that I would think about is, first of all, I wanted to get stuff that I was saying accurate because I was terrified of the people on the RPF. I was so intimidated because I'm like, they're so knowledgeable that I'm like, I don't want to say something wrong. So that was number one. But then number two is to give them references, because a lot of these things were obviously, they're casted or scanned from the originals. So I was getting them kind of sometimes quicker than most. So I wanted to post those videos for people referencing them.
Very cool.
To be able to make them. So
yeah, that's super helpful.
The RPF, it actually frustrated me at first because I would Google images. Like, what is this RPF stuff? It's just a bunch of reading.
See, that's what I did. I did the same thing, and that's why I just forgot about it.
But in that reading, it explains, you'll find what the part is, where to find it. In some cases, I post up everything because I don't want people to have to lose sleep and have nightmares about what that part is.
Yeah.
I just discovered this on the RPF. That's the end of R2-D2's zapper arm.
Yeah.
But it is the Greebly. It's the back of that Cloud City communicator that Lando uses.
The same thing.
That's on the back. And so I've been searching for it for 2 years. Now, it was unidentified as far as the RPF is concerned. Some guy, because you can buy, there's a thread called the junkyard in the RPF. People will sell original parts, Star Wars props. And some guy sold 3 of these. Well, everybody, including myself, was like, dude, what is it? Dude, what is that thing? He's like, oh, I didn't realize no one knew what it was. This is what it is. I waited and watched. The second he posted that thing up, I scoured the earth and I found one. Now, I never would have thought that it is what it is, but I have one. So I can cast this, and at least if people can't find the thing, or if they want to fabricate their own out of metal, they'll have a physical.
What is it? What is
it? It is a General Control Company toggle switch. So this little port here, there's a toggle switch on that. Down here's a bunch of leaves. You have to take them off, and I did. There's a bunch of leaves on the bottom of it, which I took off. But this is the part that they used.
Was that made out of metal, or what is that made out of cast?
Yeah, this part is cast. This little center part is actually like a steel.
Wow.
That's this has saved me so much sleep because
Yeah.
it gets to the point you're like, I don't even care what it is, or if I get one, I need to know what it is and that it exists.
Yeah.
Because I did the rebreathers for the
The
Minot Cave rebreather masks, and
He's got it like
the mask, the mask strap. So we discovered what the mask strap was. And we did this during the pandemic. People started chiming in. I chimed in. It was a group effort. People in Germany and France and here in the US all working together, and we discovered what all these parts were. The part that I did discover that was unidentified was what the mounting for the mask strap. So this is an original one. That's the mask strap. It's from 1968. It's from an Italian dive mask. I was convinced that the part that the mask mounts on was from a dive mask. So I just scoured for 2 years straight every day, and I found a dive mask. It was for prescription lenses, and I sent it to a friend because I already had one of these. After I sent it to him, I was like, wait a second. If that part is on that mask, I go back and look, and I'm like, oh god, it's on that mask.
Oh my god! This whole time.
I'm like, dude, that part we've been looking for. Well, the guy was luckily selling 2 of them. So my friend in Germany, which the mask was in Germany, he bought those and he sent me one. So this part right here, this little black thing, is the part that was unidentified. The only part that was unidentified. Unfortunately, I'm one of 2 people that has one of these things because they're impossible to find. So everybody wants these casts, which is fine, but they are a pain to cast and get them right, to get them to look like the actual part. But yeah, it was so nice to finish this. And this is Princess Leia's, and the difference is hers does not have a white stripe on it. Han Solo's does, and Han Solo's mask is not green. His is clear, and this part's green. Princess Leia's is green. But this thing right here is on the AT-AT driver helmets.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, and what it is it's a this is a Sparklet's soda siphon, the top of it. You put the charger, the CO2 charger goes in this.
Yeah.
And you screw it into here, and then there's a lever on the side, and you get your soda.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. However, the correct one of these, they're about impossible to find. So I took casts of these too, so people want to buy those, they can at least have a cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. So really quick, because I know Michael was having technical difficulties since earlier on the show, so we'll see if his computer kicks back in. But I wanted to kind of bring up, so if someone wants to get a hold of you and someone's interested in anything that you're making, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Oh, probably either email. I mean, you can contact me on Instagram. Plenty of people have. Okay. Or on the RPF, if you're on there. A lot of people contact me on the RPF.
Just email.
Yeah, or just email.
Okay. I posted the thread. I posted the Rancor Gate thread in the description of this. So if you guys are on the RPF, just click on Ryan's name, and then you'll be able to message him. Oh, there's Michael. He's back. There he is.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. It's just I'm kind of far from the internet.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, so I'm in my dirty shop right now. So
no worries.
With the star behind you.
That's pretty cool. Background.
An 8-foot star or 8-foot Star Destroyer. No big deal.
Yeah.
I know. This.
I got stuff all over the place.
Oh, blockade runner.
Cool.
Oh.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Michael, show him the big boy. Are you too far from it?
The Wampa or which one?
No, the frigate.
Oh no.
Oh, you have a medical frigate?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he has a medical frigate. Look at this.
Oh man!
Oh.
Wow!
Hang on.
Is that the Falcon on there?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's full studio scale. Like, Mike, if you can you stand like close to
Oh
it, Michael,
man.
so you can see the size of that thing.
You
Jeez.
can kind of see like the Falcon.
That is so now you just got to do Super Star Destroyer, and I gotta say, I saw the bottom of that thing, the Super Star Destroyer. That is insane.
On mine.
No, the Super Star Destroyer.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Oh,
The Executor.
yeah.
Yeah, that thing is that thing is crazy.
You show my Wampa. Did you guys have you seen Michael's Wampa? There's a life size Wampa. Look at it.
Here's Luke. He's being dragged.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait, show him the Wampa though.
Yeah. So this is going in the restaurant here.
that is so cool.
Oh wow!
Uh,
Look at him.
man, that is fantastic.
Oh, I love his like body language in those hands.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this thing is so incredible.
He's so
I-
expressive. He looks soft.
That's amazing. Wow.
Wow.
I mean, can you put your hand next to his hand, Michael?
oh yeah,
The scale.
Well, I know the original costume
wow.
is
He's huge.
yeah. So that's the thing. So this thing sits. I'm 6 foot tall. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm 6 foot myself. Wow. That's beautiful. Wow. That is so. Thank you for showing us that. That's
of course, you're welcome.
Great.
Hey,
oh,
look.
you
So,
do have- you
so
do have a
here-
record.
here's my my little thing.
Yeah.
It's ready to light up and
Is that
everything.
the Lego Robot
Awesome.
one?
No, this right here, Yin's a gentleman with Legacy Arts. He does stuff like this. That's a 6 scale with the
Wow.
Rancor down there.
Oh,
Oh
man.
wow.
So, but yeah, so I got crap everywhere. You know what I mean? So
That's that's not crap though. That's
yeah, right, exactly.
I,
But yeah,
I-
so
I
it'll
don't
be
like
great.
Destroyer.
It'll be good when all this stuff is in its proper place. You know, it's
Right. Yeah, we were
So-
thinking of drilling out our Regal Robot one and making the lights work at least.
We thought about it.
that'd be cool.
little LED in the top one.
Yeah, that'd be real cool.
But yeah, well, guys, I mean, because we're at the 2 hour mark. I know, you
Yeah.
know, obviously we want to respect everyone's time and everything. So I just want to thank you guys for jumping on so much. Again, what you're doing for the Star Wars community, highly appreciated. And again, this Rancor Gate control is beautiful. Happy birthday, Julie. I hope you guys, you know, have a wonderful day tomorrow. I hope you know, have a wonderful birthday. Really appreciate you guys jumping on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having
guys,
us, and
thanks for creating so much great content and showing us your wonderful collections. Like it regularly enriches our lives and lots of other people. So
yeah,
That's awesome. Thank you for that.
it's been a blessing, and it's so nice to meet
Yeah.
Michael and Gabe.
So nice.
Finally,
thank you so
Uh,
much.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys and everybody watching. Thank you again for spending your Saturday with us. Michael, any last words?
It's just great, like always, to meet you know, new Star Wars, you know, enthusiasts, and thank you guys for the great comments, what you had to say about Gabe and I, and you know, you're our friends now, and welcome to the family.
Oh,
thank you.
thanks.
Yeah. So
Absolutely. I appreciate. Yeah. And I know you said you're not on you know, Facebook and all that, but we do have a Facebook group if you wanted to jump on. Just because if you are doing a run and stuff, it'd be a great place. I mean, I'll do it for you if not, but you know, a great place for, you know, to showcase your latest product.
because you guys ought to know by now, this is like Gabe's forte. I mean, this is prop replicas is what I mean. Look at it. This is what Gabe's all about. And
Yeah.
I am a pretty picky guy, but Gabe is very picky when it comes to certain things. I mean, he's limited on his room, and so anything that he purchases, it's gonna have to be something, you know.
we are too. I mean, most
Huge compliment.
people come over and they're like, "We want to see your work studio." I was like, "You're standing."
Yeah.
They're like right here, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah."
It's cool though, seeing everything that Gabe does, because he's got so much talent. I've known forever, but when you see him knocking out these little things, he kind of surprises you every once in a while. Like, hey, look what I just built! It's like, what?
Yeah, he did that fast. He,
Really
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
Very
So-
impatient, or an impatient person.
When I love
But-
that shared your happy learning accident too. Like sometimes the best techniques come out of accidental.
That's exactly right.
So
Yeah, with me too. That's very true. But
Well,
yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us, and everybody, thank you so much for your Saturday, like always.
absolutely.
Thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening.
Have a wonderful evening. Yeah, take care.